Welcome to June's Spilt Tea and Promptly Candid with the Ugly Art Club. All three founders are here today, and we're going to be talking about hashtag, although hashtags are kind of dead, TUAC Mended.
Yes,
Mended.
we are.
Go,
We
jump in.
are.
June. Mended. That's what we got.
Yes. So what you thinking about, Kristen, when you hear that?
Well, I was thinking of like mending patches, mending jeans, patching holes. Yeah, all the mending. Like I'm for the mending.
Mhm.
I
Yep.
love that we're in this like crazy textile role that it's just like apparently we were really fabric oriented when we lined up this year because it is like fabric, 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 fabric. We'll be back with some other mixed media soon.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think so immediately I went to the same kind of train of thought that you were going with as well, Kristen, and specifically last month where I went on this a complete tangent about recycling and making sure that we are doing the right thing for our planet. Obviously. Okay. I don't know what the tale was. You'll have to leave me a comment and let me know. But with that, one of the things I always find is very interesting is how many um specifically wool sweaters and cashmere sweaters and things that I can find. Now, I'm gonna say that my theory is because all of you snowbirds looking at you, looking at me, looking at y'all, y'all running on down here, okay, and y'all think it's pretty cool to live where I live. And so when y'all down here, you realize real quick that you do not need all of those beautiful wool garments. And let's also go ahead and talk about wool and moth holes is like a real thing. So it's funny that you brought that up because I did not plan this, but the corner of my wee eye in this pile of stuff right here, mind your business. Don't talk to me about cleaning up. But this is a beautiful example of like a hole. And like so many things get sent to the thrift stores, the landfills, whatever, because people would rather that's inaccurate. Okay, I'm gonna assume that people do not have the skill
Hmm.
to patch, right, or to mend or to darn that specific hole. And so for them to learn the skill set in order to be able to do that is much easier just to go and buy it new because it's so readily available now. So I immediately thought the same thing because I have so many really good whether it's I've got this really badass jacket that I got, this like kind of like a chore coat, and it had like this big rip down the front, and like I know you can tell like somebody loved the hell out of this jacket, you know what I'm saying, like it was threadbare in a lot of areas, and I'm like I think I can get like 5-10 more years out of this piece if it's darned or it's patched really well. So I think this month we have a great opportunity to not only educate our community about visible mending, about like the art of how, I think at some point, like probably when our grandmas were like mending things, it was like all about like trying to keep it low key, like nobody will know the hole in your in your knee patch, but now we're like letting that shit hang out. We're like, yes, it's visibly mended, we did it by hand, I want you to see the color contrast and the colors. And so I'm really excited to see how we like mix the art part of like seeing the art marks of the hand that actually mended it, and then how it adds to the garment opposed to detracts. So that's my thoughts.
I am too. I think that there has been a turning point, and I don't know. I feel like we always have before and after. Before COVID and after COVID, of course, is the most recent one, right?
Mhm.
I don't know if it's since COVID, but you're right. Like fast fashion beforehand, I absolutely guilty have purchased the same shirt twice because it got a hole in it, and I was like, God dang it! Like so, but in the last 5-ish years, as my hippie heart has been like, yo, what the heck are you doing? And my penny pincher heart has been like, yo, what are you doing? Visible mending has definitely made this great surgence. I don't want to say resurgence because I feel like it's always been floating around, especially in the arts world. We just maybe haven't seen it as openly, as we do now, which I'm very excited as well. I do think also there's a lot of opportunity for some emotions to happen with the word mended. Like I think a lot about mended hearts and mended relationships and mended practices, mended traumas, though none of us are therapists or anything like that. But also sometimes you don't have to be, especially when it comes to like self-reflection and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see if some of that stuff pops up in anybody's work, and kind of how they approach it too, right? Like how are you mending? What does that look like for you? What kind of adventure or path are you set on to mend whatever it might be? Maybe it's even like coordinating with your inner child who just loves to finger paint. Like there's like so many options and opportunities with every month, but certainly with Mended.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it really is very broad. And one of the things when we were thinking about that, I watched this in the world of all of the things. Where was that short clip? Was it right here on YouTube in shorts? Was it on Instagram?
Yeah,
Was it TikTok? I don't know.
that
We
went
have
out of
so
your
much.
memory banks.
Right, but it was talking about like the Japanese art of like boro and like the stitches and like how that was a necessity, right? When you think about like some of the quilts and some of the things that like this, for example, this is definitely classified as a cutter quilt because it has so many spots that have been remended and then the whole. But like for like talking about our group of like the ugly art club and like the work that we do as artists kind of also reminded me of, I think it's called kintsugi, which
That
is like
yes.
the art of mending pottery and ceramics. And not only do they mend it, but then they add the gold to it because they're like, see me,
Right.
see how cool I am, see the life and the story and all the things. And like to me, I love those little love stitches where you can see something that is like mended. And I've taken up all of the air and space for Kristen, so I'm gonna open the door for her to come on in.
Well, I could not remember what it was called, but when you started talking about the Japanese, like that was immediately what I thought of was the whole repair of the pottery and being very specific,
Yeah.
like even more so, like calling it out, like this has been fixed, this has been repaired because this is being handed down, or this has been a piece that has been loved and used and been a part of our life, our journey, our whatever this is. But they actually, it's like a not proud, but yes, right? Like you still have it. And
Mhm.
yes, it's been mended, but yes, it's freaking awesome.
Mhm.
So,
And
yeah.
then the gold on top of it, like
Yeah.
not even like you're talking about like high quality that you're adding then in to like really just set the piece apart. But like, I mean, there's so many things. Like there was this girl at the Goodwill Bins, which I really love the Goodwill Bins, by the way. If you don't know that, well, I'm potentially addicted, but that's okay. Okay, mind your business. That might be why I have a pile looking at me right over here that y'all can't see. I'm really good at it though. I can find some really good stuff. It's part of the hunt, right? But there's this girl there, and so she had this really cool striped sweater, and it was a wool sweater. I know she had it in her hand, and she went to put it back. And I said, "Hey, if you're gonna put it back, I would love to have that." And she was like, "Well," and it's the way she looked. I just
Mm,
wish I could capture it. She was like, "It has a hole in it." And I was like, "That means it's extra special. I still would really like it if you're gonna put it back." And so I saw her, I did wear it in the very small moments of time I get to wear a sweater down here, but I did wear it and I saw her again, and I was like, I
yeah.
just, and it was not mended. That whole, I had not mended it yet. And I said, I just wanted to tell you how much I really love this sweater. And she was like, "Oh, and it looks so good on you." And she never saw the hole. So I think like subconsciously we see things because we see the imperfections, but at the end of the day, that sweater is still going to wear just as good. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, who, again, it's like art is subjective, right? Who says when it's in disrepair, or like when it becomes to a spot where you just actually have to? I will never forget, Dee Dee. Remember Kristen busted those pants when we were in Texas?
Oh.
And she,
Yeah. And not and the whole cheek, like the whole
there
cheek was out.
was no way she was getting away from not mending those pants
No.
that week. And so, how old were those jeans though, Kristen? Because you said they were your sons, right?
Yes, and that's what I was thinking of because I was mending his pants before even all of this was like super cool because again, I'd bought these, you know what I mean? Like you're trying to be cool, the cool kid, right? You have one pair of jeans, one pair of nice jeans, and then I don't know, something, I don't even know what he would do. I'd like, how'd you get a hole there? So I would have to fix them, but I don't want to age myself, but I'm just saying he graduated from high school in 2012, just for the record. But those are some good jeans. So
And now Mama's wearing them
that's
with
right.
a big mend on the back that
Yeah.
me and Katie got to observe. I
Yeah.
think it's maybe my patch that you ended up needing.
That
I
might
don't
be.
remember.
Yeah,
Yes,
that might be.
I don't think I had a big enough piece of fabric to
Yeah.
cover the whole thing. It was like, oh, I'm gonna need a big one here.
As far as visibly mending goes, too, like, and I've seen Tiff do this in the hotel room at night. I think darning is amazing because it's not only patching and patchwork and mending, but it just ends up being like this cool little weaving. Like, it becomes such a statement piece, and like you could use different things. Like, you can make it look more original and find like an old yarn or something, but when it looks like a cool little woven patch, like I'm really obsessed with watching people darn and what they choose to do with that.
For the record, that is my favorite sweater. I do wear that one a lot. So
The one that you got that I was darning in the hotel that
yes,
morning.
yes.
That's
I
funny.
was like, "Ah, I love that one.
Yeah,
So
it's just, it's something I just feel like also, like if you're watching this, and this, I mean we're this is for our June 2026, right? So if you're watching this 6 months down the road and this pops up in your feed, because you know how weird things happen on social media and you don't know why that thing just popped up, you know, and you're like, well, algorithms up to no good, or maybe. So I would encourage you to, if regardless of how you saw this, but to just take a minute to look at all of the different ways that you can mend, and to know that it doesn't have to be perfect, and we all started somewhere. So whether it is just adding a patch of denim behind it, you know, I've seen some beautiful like sashiko and things like that. That's not my ministry. Okay. You're not gonna see me graphing out some specific patterns. I know you're surprised, right? But I can appreciate those
yeah,
beautiful pieces. And I also just think about the love story that we have with those particular garments or sweaters or whatever, and like the ability that you have to keep them whether it's you wearing it or she passing it down to someone else who really loves and appreciates it. Like, there's so much that we can do to give life, because like one hole, what is it? One monkey ain't gonna stop no show. One hole into something is not gonna stop Tim from wearing it. Sometimes I just wear it with the hole, sometimes I patch it up. So just take a look and see like what you could potentially do, because you might be surprised that it might even end up being cooler than what it originally was, based on how you approach it. And there's some artists out there that literally, there was a lady who God, her last name is Prim. Cecilia Prim, I think. I have a blog article where I talked about and called her out specifically. But what she did is she would actually, people would send their sweaters to her and she would mend it. And she went to, apparently it wasn't in the US, it wasn't in the States, it was somewhere else. But it was almost like, the best thing I could say is like a mulching mill for textiles.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Oh,
it has a name. I can't call it right off the top of my head. Well, she goes there, and I don't know if she was working there or maybe this is somebody who's like shared the story that was in her book. Anyway, I have the book. I read the story. It was beautiful. And she took this, and y'all, literally, that sweater was just the collar. It was just almost like the collar part and like maybe like the mid trunk or something. And
oh,
so
wow.
she ended up with another like textile artist who did maybe knitting or something. And they came together and reconstructed this into obviously something completely different. But like, I was just like, think of a sock. How many of us has thrown a freaking sock away because of the hole that it has in it, right? And like,
Yeah.
I've seen like all of these artworks of like people mending those things. I just got back from Amsterdam, and one of the things, y'all, I almost bought it. And I was like, Tiffany, number one, you can't keep up with your own actual socks that you wear. What are you gonna do with these like wool like socks that, but y'all, they had the most precious men's on them and they were so cool, and I was like, why do I need these wool socks? But like, they, people just mended things because it was a way of life, and I think that we could just like lean into that. So I'm excited, whether it's mending paper, like Dee Dee talked about, like other ways that you could go with it. I'm really excited about this month and seeing what we can come up with. And yes, that's all I have.
Me too. Me too. And I know that we're all different, but I always think my favorite things are mended versions, whether it's like a patch on a sail, right, for a sailboat, or even like we don't even have to talk fabric, like mended fences, like that have different kinds of posts and different pieces of wood, or mended farms, like like little hobby farms that they're just like reusing and repurposing and patching the roof on the chicken coop and with the screen door or whatever, like that. It just is like happy and homey, and it just like it feels right and nostalgic. So I'm really excited to dive into June.
Yeah. It's like a story, like it just has, I don't know. I guess we're all birds of a feather in that way. Like the things that have the story already attached to it, it tells you it's been through something, it's
Yeah.
lived a life already. And for you to extend that life versus, letting it go, I think it's kind of special, even more special, and hopefully at some point the person coming behind you that's at the flea market, or one day our stuff's got to go somewhere. So
Somewhere.
maybe somebody's gonna find one of my sweaters that I've darned when I'm gone on away, and they're gonna be like, that's a badass sweater, it's got fun thread. And the other thing too, while I was gone, I found it so interesting that here in the state, specifically where I live at, it is very hard to find anything outside of like DMC floss, like readily available at the store. in your just regular everyday store you can't buy online. But when I was at the flea market in Amsterdam, there was a wool thread just like sitting there, like, hey girl. I was like, what? I was, ma'am, can I buy the whole thing? Like, I don't know, I'm gonna get it home, but I need it all. But I did end up getting quite a few, and I thought that was interesting too. So wherever you're at in the world when you're watching this, you may have things that are easily accessible, where it may be challenging for other people. And I think that's, as artists, when we come together and like, share our stash or send people a patch of denim or whatever it is. Like, I don't know. I think it would be really cool for us to do something where we like send each other different pieces, kind of like the story connection of all over, with artists just sharing like their patches or their thread to darn something, or I don't know. I don't know where that came from, but it just popped up. It came out of my mouth. But I think that would be really cool to have like pieces of other people's garments or other people's stash that show up in our work, because I feel like that's what we do when we get together. We're like, oh
It
girl,
is.
washi tape, here you go. You need a little gesso, a little glue stick, and then before you know it, the DNA of other artists are infused in our journals when we never really think about it.
Right. And as per usual, our theme like lends itself really well to creative reuse, which we're all like, and as far as mending goes, like vintage whatever, vintage textiles or vintage toys that need mending, or so it's like all of our favorite things, flea markets and hunting, and like what do you have over there that you've been meaning to patch? Like, there's so much opportunity. Kristen is like, she just did the hugest sideball. Like she's staring at something right to the left of her, to the right of her. Like, yeah. So we've got options.
We do have options. I have some mending in here that needs to be done. So a couple items.
Well, turn
A
on
big
the
hole.
camera when you start working on it, because that might need to be your project. Who knows?
Yeah.
That's what we have to do. Well, I'm excited. And we hope that y'all will join us as we go through the month of Mended. We would love for you to comment on this video and kind of let us know when you think of those words, or maybe you have a story of something that is really special to you, that you have those special mends, and how that's impacted the longevity of you being able to either reuse it or continue to use it in its is Miss Burt down there, or what's happening?
Yes, she is eyeballing me, thinking, oh, maybe she'll pass here. I'm thinking she's coming up on the lap.
I was gonna say it would probably be better for her too, rather than people wondering what the hell you got going on down there.
Oh,
Hey, Miss Burt, are you gonna you've already had travel agent Jim pop up back there. Now you're gonna have Miss Burt popping up. That's funny.
Yep.
Well, I think that's it, y'all.
So
That's why it's promptly
Thanks so much.
candid.
Yes, until next time. Toodaloo.